Okay, class. Today, our topic of discussion is magnetic dipole and Earth's magnetism. Magnetic dipoles. And for this, we first of all we have to know about the artificial magnet, artificial bar magnet. That is considered as a magnetic dipole. And the preferred reasons of bar magnet, this is the shape of bar magnet, north and south poles. These preferred reasons where the attraction, magnetic interaction is maximum, these preferred reasons are called the magnetic poles. Magnetic poles. And it has the attractive property, directive property and inductive property, this artificial bar magnet. And the atomic view of magnetism. Atomic view of magnetism means the material which is magnetized or unmagnetized, and there is a difference of rearrangement of magnetic molecules, that is also considered as the molecular magnets in the shape of arrows. Let we have draw this is the arrows, that will be the magnetic elements, closed loops. This is non-magnetized material, but for magnetized, these arrows are aligned in particular direction, and this direction like this, south pole, and the arrows give the north pole. So this is the atomic view of magnetism. This is the difference between magnetized and unmagnetized material. And how we write the Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law in magnetism. Coulomb's law is used to find the magnetic force between the two poles, and small m, that is considered as a magnetic pole strength. Then how we write the force? That is written as pole strength upon distance between the poles. And here we have the constant K m1 m2 upon r square, and this K constant is written as mu naught upon 4 pi, and its value -7 Weber per ampere per meter. This is the Coulomb's magnetism force between the two magnetic poles. And here the constant of proportionality, that is mu naught upon 4 pi 10 raised to power -7 Weber per ampere per meter. And in electrostatic, we have the electric field force upon charge. In magnetism, we consider the magnetic field force upon this pole strength. And when we use this magnetic field to find, we have calculate mu naught upon 4 pi m upon r square. This value we have to use in the to find the magnetic field on axial and equatorial line of bar magnet. So this bar magnet is considered as a magnetic dipole, and the two poles, they are little lie inside. The length between them is called magnetic length, 2L vector, that is always directed from south to north pole, but the actual length is called the geometrical length, that is the length, geometrical shape length. So, and magnetic dipole moment for bar magnet, that is written as pole strength into dipole length, and it is again from south to north pole, and the unit is this, the unit for m is considered as ampere meter, and the length is meter, so its unit become ampere meter square. It is the unit for it. Now we have the current loop as a magnetic dipole. Current loop as a magnetic dipole, because if we have a loop consideration, let we consider that a circular coil carrying the current, I, And here this current, if we say that from when we see from the above, it is in anti-clockwise direction. Then by using this right hand thumb rule, how we find the magnetic field lines? Like this, these are the magnetic field lines around this, like this, and line here, center of the coil. So it is appear like the arrows for the magnetic field, arrows. And it appear that the field lines enter from the lower side and lower face of the loop and leave from the upper face of the loop. Then this current loop is behave as a magnetic dipole. Then the lower face where the field lines enter at the lower face and leave upper face, lower is behave as a lower face where the field lines enter, seems to enter field lines, that is the south pole, and where the upper face where the field lines leave this coil, that is behave as a north pole. Now this magnetic dipole moment for current loop is proportional to current, it is proportional to area. So this magnetic is proportional to IA, or it is KIA, and K in SI system is 1. So this magnetic dipole moment for the current loop is written as M is equal to IA, and if the number of turns, then it is written as M is equal to NIA. This is the number of turns. Okay. Now we have used this in many problems where we have to find the magnetic dipole moment. Next we have very important, that is atom as magnetic dipole. In atom, but we consider in atom the electron is revolving in a circular orbits around the positive nucleus. So the electron that constitute the current, then that current carrying loop is behave as a dipole. So here we consider the angular momentum of that electron which is revolving in the this atom, that is mass, velocity, radius of that circular orbit. This is the mass of electron, velocity, radius of the circular orbit. T is the time period. And what about the current? The current is a charge upon time. The current is a charge upon time. And the time is 2 pi r upon velocity. These are the conditions for us that we have the required terms to explain the atom as a magnetic dipole. Angular momentum, because when the atom is rotating in a circular orbit, it has the angular momentum. T is the time period, current, charge upon time. Then how we calculate this? The value of current become EV upon 2 pi r when we put this value of time period here, and the area of circular orbit is pi r square. Then according to this current loop, magnetic dipole moment is IA, and we have EV upon 2 pi r into pi r square. Then we got EVR upon 2. This is the magnetic dipole moment of this atom, or atom in a magnetic dipole form. And if we have to write in another form, we multiply and divide it with the ME. Then we rearrange mass of electron, then it become E upon 2MEL. And when we put in vector form, what we have? M vector, that is minus E, L vector upon 2ME. Why we put this negative sign? Because the charge on electron is negative. So it means the magnetic dipole moment and angular momentum of an atom revolving, of an electron revolving in an atom is the opposite directions. And according to the Bohr's theory, the angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. Angular momentum of electron revolving in an atom is nh upon 2 pi. So we write this m, that is E 2me in term of L nh upon 2 pi, or we can say n eh upon 4 pi me. And when this n is equal to 1, and we have the value when n is equal to 1, this magnetic dipole moment, that is mu b, that is eh upon 4 pi me, electron 4 pi me. So by putting these values, charge, Planck's constant, mass of electron, we got this Bohr magneton. And what is this Bohr magneton? Magnetic dipole moment associated with an atom due to the orbital motion of one electron, first orbit. Due to this, that magnetic moment is called Bohr magneton. Means the Bohr magneton is the magnetic dipole moment associated with an atom due to the orbital motion of an electron in a first orbit. And by using the values of this electron 1.-19, this 6.62 into -34, 4 pi, and this 9.1 into -31, that we have the value for this, that is 9.27 - 34 ampere meter square, and this is the value of Bohr magneton. Okay, so now by using these concepts, that is, this is the Coulomb's law, for the magnetism, and how we get the magnetic field like this. So we have calculate the magnetic field at axial line of bar magnet. Axial line of bar magnet. So here again the same method that we have to use in electrostatic, that is, we have this bar magnet, we're considering it south and north pole. This is the center, so length L, pole strength, and this is the axis. And here we have the point observation P, that is at a distance R. Let we consider that this north pole, due to this north pole, B1 is the magnetic field, large magnitude because near point, and due to this obviously opposite direction, this is B2 vector. And what about the axial line? That is B vector, similar as that of the electrostatics. Then what we have the values for this B1, that is B1 is mu naught upon 4 pi. This B1, due to this north pole, B1 mu naught upon 4 pi m upon r minus L square. And what about this B2? B2 is mu naught upon 4 pi m upon r plus L square. Now how we get the total magnetic field? That is B1 minus B2, and we have this mu naught upon 4 pi m, and here how we get this? We get this here 1 minus r minus L square minus r plus L square, and by calculating these and simplify these, we have mu naught upon 4 pi m 4r L upon r square minus L square the whole square. Same procedure. And what we have, m into 2L, that is the m, and what we write here? We write B axial, that is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi 2mr upon r square minus L square whole square. And in vector form we put the vector over here. If we compare it with electric field axial, what should we have? In place of this, we have 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught 2p dipole moment r square minus a square whole square. So the steps are same to find the magnetic field at the axial line of the bar magnet. Similarly, if we consider the magnetic field, that is magnetic field on the equatorial line of bar magnet, again we have the same bar magnet, each pole, strength 2L the magnetic length, O with the center, observation point. Now we have this for the observation point, we have this diagram. This is for the equatorial direction diagram, when we have to find the equatorial magnetic field for the bar magnet. Same procedure. We have this dipole, S north, O center, L length, pole strength. Observation point is P, that is on the equatorial line. And again here this distance is the same from here. So from this north pole, this is the magnetic field, and from the south pole, this is the magnetic field, that is angle theta, and the components, this is the resultant equatorial lines. And here if we simplify this, that this B1 at point P at an angle theta resolve into B1 cos theta, B1 sin theta. Similarly, B2, that is resolved into B2 cos theta, sin theta. They cancel each other, but these two, they can added with each other to find the magnetic field. And how we, again we have the values B1 to B1 cos theta. And what is the magnetic field? Mu naught upon 4 pi m upon r square plus L square. Because in this case, this distance is the same. So by putting the value of cos theta, and we again getting this value, that is mu naught upon 4 pi m r square plus L square 3 by 2, that is in this direction. Similarly, as in case of electrostatic field, what we have, we write this magnetic field on equatorial line. What we have, if we write this, mu naught upon 4 pi m upon r square plus L square 3 by 2. And in vector form, again we have the negative sign. Why we have the negative sign? Because the magnetic field is along this direction. And what is the m vector direction? South to north pole. Similarly, if we have in electrostatic equatorial, we have 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught P over r square plus a square 3 by 2. And if we again put the vector, we have the negative sign with the same procedure. Okay. And if we have to find the short dipole value, again like in the electrostatics, what we have to do, we again use the same steps. Like here we have this dipole, and this observation point is at any distance, not on the axial, not on the equatorial, and its dipole moment m vector, that has the two components, m cos theta in this direction and m sin theta in this direction. And here we considering that the dipole is of two. One is S1N1 dipole with P point on the axial line, and with S2N2 with the P point on the equatorial line. And for S1N1, what we have the dipole moment m cos theta, and for S2N2, what we have the dipole moment m sin theta. And we have the formulas for the short dipoles, because here we're considering that this observation point is on the axial line of this S1N1. And for short dipole, we use this formula. And for short dipole for equatorial, then these two here, they are perpendicular, parallelogram, and this is the direction. So by using this parallelogram law, put these values here, and the common values mu naught 4 pi, that m upon r cube, this value, and find this value. That is 1 cos square sin square is 1, and we got this value. And if we find the direction again by the parallelogram law, then we have this value, tan alpha is 1 by 2 tan theta. Okay, so then if we place the dipole in a uniform magnetic field, same procedure to find the torque on a bar magnet in magnetic field. Torque on a bar magnet in a magnetic field. So we have this uniform magnetic field here, and we place this magnetic bar magnet or magnetic dipole here with two poles and pole length and making angle theta. We have the formula that we considering the electric field is force upon charge, then force due to electric field is QE. Similarly, we have magnetic field is force upon pole strength, though what we have F is equal to MB. This is the force due to the magnetic field on the pole strength. So here the two poles, if north pole have the force in the direction of magnetic field, then south have the force opposite to directions. So two equal and opposite forces, they again constitute a torque, and these are the parallel, these are the line of action, and this is the perpendicular distance between these line of actions, and this line of action that is opposite to the angle theta. So what we write here, torque is either force into perpendicular distance, and perpendicular distance is sine theta. Again we have the formula mb 2l sine theta, this is m, and we got torque is mv sine theta m vector cos b vector, tau that is p vector cross e vector. That is the same as in electrostatic, only the terms are different. Similarly, we have the potential energy of a bar magnet placed in a magnetic field. Same step, when the bar magnet is placed in a uniform magnetic field, it acquires this torque. And if we have to rotate the magnet, the work is done, small amount of work is done by this torque, that is tau d theta mb sine d theta. And by calculating this again, by calculating theta 1 theta 2 mb sine theta, again we got the values, and this work done is as a potential energy, that is u mb cos theta 1 minus theta 2, and we put this value. So these are some conditions. Theta 0, the max, this is the minimum potential energy when dipole is at 90 degree, then 0, 180 maximum. So magnetic dipole have minimum potential energy when m vector b vector are parallel, and maximum potential energy when they are anti-parallel. So these are the concepts which are according to the electrostatic concepts, only the terms are different. And the next question, bar magnet as an equivalent solenoid, very important term. B, this is the solenoid, current carrying solenoid, and in solenoid we have studied that the pole entering, that is the south pole, and leaving, that is the north pole, and the solenoid, each term is considered as a bar magnet. So this bar magnet or the solenoid, they are equivalent. But now we have a very important question, that is for the NCERT questions. We have this, that to demonstrate, the question is to demonstrate the similarity of a current carrying solenoid to a bar magnet. Let us calculate. First, what we have to do for that, very important question. We consider this solenoid which carry the current. This is the center, let we consider center, and on its axial line, this P point is our observation point. A is the radius of this, L length, and observation point is at a distance R. Now we taking these terms, radius, length, number of turns per unit length, I is the current. Now to calculate the magnetic field at point P on axis of solenoid, we consider this small element dx, width dx at the distance x. Now in small element, the number of turns become n dx. We consider this solenoid observation point. Now this observation point is at the axis of this small element axis, and in Biot-Savart law we have calculate this formula, that the magnetic field at the axis of current loop, this we have the formula, and we directly apply the formula, that is due to small, what is the magnetic field, mu naught upon 4 pi 2 pi number of turns current. This is the formula for us. but we considering the point P is at very large distance. So this R is very large than X, and this R is very large than this radius of the solenoid. So this term is minimized as a R cube. And what we got here, dB, that is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi 2 pi n dx I a square R cube. Now we have to differentiate, integrate to find the net field. And how we integrate? If we taking the number of small elements to integrating the limits, this positive to negative. Now we have this integration dx, and dx is x, negative to positive, because positive towards or towards right we considering the positive limit towards right, and towards left we considering the negative limits. And we got this. Now these terms, rearranging these terms, this n into 2l into I pi a square, n into 2l, number of turns per unit length. For whole length we considering the solenoid length 2l, current area, and this will become magnetic dipole moment. And by putting these values here, what we got here? We got here the magnetic field due to a short bar magnet on the axial line. So it means this current solenoid is considered as a bar magnet, and it is a very important concept for the this plus 2 class NCERT questions. And next we have the Gauss law in magnetism. In magnetism, we have the Gauss law in electrostatic, that surface integral of electric field is Q upon epsilon naught. But in magnetism, isolate poles are not exist. Magnetic poles, we never consider that this is only the south pole, this is the field of south pole. No, the poles are always exist in dipole. So the Gauss law for the magnetism, that is the surface integral of magnetic field is 0, because when a surface encloses the dipole, the net pole strength becomes 0. No isolated charges existed, but no isolated pole existed. So Gauss law become in magnetism, surface integral of B dot ds vector is 0. Then we again have the magnetic field lines that is used to represent the magnetic field and the various properties for that. And for earth magnetism, there are the different terms that we have to describe the different terms for the earth magnetism. Geographic axis of rotation of earth is called geographic axis, but the magnet which is supposed to be buried inside the earth, that is also has the axis, magnetic axis. Equator or geographic equator, great circle, that will be perpendicular to the geographic axis, and the circle perpendicular to magnetic axis is called magnetic equator. These are the terms that we have to describe the earth magnetism. And meridian, the vertical planes that is passing through geographic axis, geographic meridian, magnetic axis, magnetic meridians. And for describing, we have this simple diagram, that is the earth, this is the axis, earth, geographic axis, and here we considering that it is assumed that a very large magnet is buried inside the earth, and they are not coinciding with each other. They are at some angle to each other. So these are the terms that we have to explain in earth magnetism. And the cause of earth magnetism is not exactly explained. The earth magnetism is explained that the rotation of earth, that is responsible for the earth magnetism. Earth atmosphere that contains the ions, when the earth is moving, the ions are moving and they produce the currents. The core of earth, that is considering the magnetic materials, but ultimately the rotation of earth, that is responsible for the earth magnetism. Then to describe the earth magnetism with the physical quantities. That physical quantities are called the magnetic elements. That physical quantities are called the magnetic elements, and these are the three, that is magnetic declination. First, magnetic declination denoted by theta, and the second is magnetic inclination or dip, magnetic inclination or dip, that is delta, and the horizontal components of earth magnetic field, that is BH. So these are called the magnetic elements which are used to explain the earth magnetism, that is magnetic declination, magnetic inclination, and horizontal components. And how we describe these? We have the meridians. Meridians are the vertical planes passing through the axis. That is, these, if the axes are not coinciding, then the meridians are also not coinciding. We have these terms A, B, C, D, that we considering magnetic meridian. This is a magnetic meridian, and what we have here, dash, C dash, and this is geographic meridian. And the angle between these two at a particular place, because if the axes are not coinciding, then the meridians are also not coinciding. This angle is called declination. And the total magnetic field B, and this is the vertical component, and V, and this is the horizontal component of this total magnetic field. The angle between total magnetic field and horizontal component is called dip, that is magnetic inclination dip. And this is the horizontal. As usual, how we write this horizontal component? Cos delta, vertical is sine delta, and the total is horizontal plus vertical square. And what about the tan delta? That is vertical upon horizontal. Okay, so these are the magnetic elements that is used to describe the magnetic field of Earth. And then we have the neutral points. Just have an idea for these points. The magnetic field of bar magnet, where it balances the Earth's horizontal component, and at that points no field is existed, they are called the neutral points. And we have to remember these neutral points, because when the magnet is placed its north pole towards geographic north of Earth, geographic north, then neutral point is at equatorial of bar magnet. And when the magnet is placed its south pole to geographic geographic north, then where we got the neutral point? On the axial line of this bar magnet. So we have remember this, we know this equatorial distance magnetic field and axial magnetic field. So this is all about our Earth's magnetism and the magnetic dipoles. Okay.